Hi there. First, I wanted to start by saying thank you for returning to my channel, and secondly, I want to address something pretty right off the bat. First of all, I did not intend to leave my channel after starting it that quickly. However, as we're going to go over in this video, I've had a couple life circumstances that have changed the trajectory of my finances and my life in general, and so I had to take some time to kind of pick up the pieces and figure out what I'm going to do. And if I'm being honest, we're still in the oh no phase, which is why I'm calling this the oh no money plan, because we don't have a plan. Not a solidified one that's going to, work long term, but we're gonna do something for now to try to figure it out. Basically, to try to make a long story kind of short, I had to quit a dream position that I was offered and started due to a medical diagnosis that I have. I had to fly across the country to go get into a specialist, and then they had to then refer me back to a specialist in my state in the Midwest that can further see me. That being said, I'm struggling with things like long commutes in a car, long commutes in a train, things of that nature. I have a type of migraine. It's called vestibular migraine. It's a migraine that presents with some of the typical migraine symptoms that you think of, like headache and things like that, but I also get extreme dizziness, nausea, car sick, light sensitivity, which is more of like that typical migraine thing that you think of, but it has made my life a little hard to manage lately. I did not know that I had vestibular migraine until December of last year, so this is a fairly new diagnosis. We're in the very first stages of trying to treat it. We're only on the second round of treatment options because they take about 6 to 12 weeks to work. I'm probably telling way more than I need to, but it has uprooted my life. And as a nurse, I have to be able to, be fast and quick, and it has just made me a little slower in my day-to-day tasks than I'd like to be, and I'm hoping that with the treatment I'll get back to like more of my baseline. But irregardless, it has put me in a tough financial position because I did have to quit a dream opportunity that I was given because the commute was over 90 minutes into the city of Chicago, and I cannot manage the public transport. It was making me sick and nauseous and vomiting every time I would go. I can't drive that long. It makes me dizzy and car sick. So unfortunately, there was no way to manage keeping that position where my health would not continue to deteriorate. That being said, I also lost my benefits, which makes getting treatment incredibly difficult. So it's kind of the cyclical thing of difficulties. So I wanted to start, before we go into the money, I want to just start with, if you're in a similar position, I just want you to know that this economy is rough. I have a master's degree. I'm technically a board certified nurse practitioner and a registered nurse, and I have applied to over 250 jobs, and I can't find a job. And that's with having a master's degree, being a nurse practitioner, and I cannot find a job, not a single job. After over 250 plus applications, I've had 3 or 4 interviews. I was offered one PRN or as needed position. At this time, I'm going to take that position because it does come with paid training, and I am going to, that position is great for me long term for my growth as a nurse. However, it's not benefited, and it's not something that will pay the bills long term. I'm still looking for a full-time position at this time, but my heart just really goes out to other people that are in the same situation, struggling with even more difficult circumstances. And my heart goes out. Life has been extremely hard lately for myself, including somebody hitting my car while I've been doing my, gig work and things like that. So I can only imagine, if it has been this difficult for myself, that there are people going through 10 times worse and more difficult things. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. Life is kind of not the best right now, but the reality is that we can fight and push, and things will get better. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we just have to get through the not so great part. At least that is what I'm telling myself. That is the hope I am trying to bring forward and bring with us. So let's talk about what we're going to do with my money, or lack of money rather. First of all, we're still applying to a billion jobs. We're going to keep doing gig work until we find something. I'm going to start that as needed position and make sure I'm, you know, using that money for my bills until I find a full-time position. So let's start with what we're going to do for this upcoming week. In my account currently, in my first account, I have $525.73. In my second account, I have $163. I made sure to buy groceries that would sustain me over this period of time. Things like oatmeal, pasta, things that can go in the freezer. I made sure that I had things that can last me for a few weeks. So I have enough food in the house to last me for about 3 weeks. Pardon my Diet Coke break. I have $190 in cash that came from my envelopes that needs to go back to my bank. On DoorDash this week, I made $63.90. And on Shipt, I made $351.11. There are some tips that I think will still come in, but they're probably not going to come in by midnight tonight, and midnight's the cutoff, so those will get popped onto next week. This brings me to a total of $1293.74, flexing in by Friday of this week. Now we need to go to the most important thing, which is the bills that have to be paid. I did cancel my Amazon subscription for this month. I did try to cancel YouTube, but it came out before I could pause my premium membership. So first and foremost, we're not going to incur any more debt during this process. Even though we're struggling, we're not taking out any debt. The only caveat I have to that is that my dog has not been feeling well. And if something were to happen where he needs to go to the vet and it extends outside of the money that I have available in my emergency fund, I will take out a 0% care credit card to take him to the vet, and then I will side gig it up to pay that off before the interest kicks in. I don't want to take out any debt. That's not the plan. I did not anticipate being in this position. I wish that I had planned a little bit more ahead. I'm glad I have the emergency fund that I have, but at this time, it's only $1,000 because I've had to pull from it from the last couple months of like little emergencies popping up. So hopefully, hopefully we can kind of get on track. Hopefully my dog starts feeling a little bit better and we aren't gonna have this issue. My NICOR is my heat, which has to be paid. This is going to be $43. I was on a budget plan for $33, where it came out at $33 every month. I noticed that it says $43. I don't know what happened. If it went up, they never informed me that it went up, so I need to touch base with them on that. State Farm is my insurance on my car, and the renter's insurance is $139.99. And that will come out on 2/24, which is actually my birthday. The gym will come out on the 1st, which is $17. I was debating canceling this. However, I think this is something that I can invest my time and energy into that doesn't cost a lot at this time as far as like hobbies and extra time. Not that I'm going to have a lot of hobby and extra time right now with this situation, but if I were, it would be nice to be able to go run on the track and just kind of self-care. As a nurse that specializes in psych and mental health and all the good things related to our mental health, I can't emphasize enough that like in times like this, when things are extremely difficult, the first thing I want to do is put myself on the back burner. And that is the first thing we need to not do, is to put ourselves on the back burner. So I encourage you that if you're going through something similar, or you're just in a time of struggle, or whatever it might be for you, try to do something today for self-care. I'm going to take a nice bath after I film this video. That's going to be my self-care. Let me know in the comments what you're going to do for your self-care. Even if it's financial self-care. Budgeting can be your financial self-care. It doesn't matter, just something that is for you to take care of you. ComEd is our electric. This is $62.05. That's coming out on the 13th. And then lastly, my internet bill is $64.83. My rent will come out on 3/01 and it is $14.50. So I'm going to take the amount that we have that flexes in this week and deduct all of our bills. that leaves us with $311.20 to go toward the rent on March 1st. And I did look to see what I have in the account already. We still need $145 to make the March 1st rent without pulling from savings. I can of course pull from my emergency fund. I can pull from additional savings accounts. I could pull from my travel account for my trip that's coming up at the end of March. I could pull that money if need be. That being said, I feel like $145 is an extremely doable amount of money that I can make this week before March 1st by doing Shipt or DoorDash. I think Shipt is more financially worth it than DoorDash most of the time, but sometimes when the orders are kind of like slow on Shipt, I'll supplement with some DoorDash and do a couple orders and then go back to Shipt. But that's where we're at. It's not great. It's not ideal. This was not the turn of events that I was hoping for after just getting board certified as a nurse practitioner. I was really hoping that things would kind of be heading in the upward trajectory and not that I would have to quit a position due to a medical diagnosis that I have and start basically from ground up again. But I think that there are some valuable lessons in this, and I'm hoping that this is short-lived and that the next time I check in, I will be telling you guys that I have signed an offer for a full-time position and I'm starting in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it might be. I don't know. And then I hope that in the next couple months, I'll be excited to come on here and tell you, oh my gosh, I found my first nurse practitioner job. I'm so excited. And I'm just holding out hope that those things are around the corner for me, and that whatever those things are for you, that those are also around the corner for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could think about commenting, subscribing, liking, whatever it might be to just kind of help boost my little YouTube, that would be fantastic. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.